All right, everyone. Welcome to this week's episode of The Career Climb, and thank you so much for joining us. If this is your first time joining us on The Career Climb, we spark conversations with industry leaders, executives, and professionals and share perspectives on the career landscape, leadership, and workplace culture. And you're in for a amazing conversation tonight with our guest Jennifer Watson. But I am your host, Julia Rock, founder and CEO at Rock Career Development, and I'm excited for you to tune in with us. To catch this episode and all past episodes, you can connect with me here on LinkedIn or visit rockcareer.com/CC archive. And that's where we're going to have our YouTube playlist so that you can catch this, replay it, and replay past episodes. But since you're here, I would love for you to stay engaged with us in the chat. Let us know where you're watching from. Let us know what parts of the conversation are hitting home for you. Just show us a little love this evening. And please feel free to drop questions in the chat if you have them, if you want more clarity. And then you can feel free to chime in if you have something to add. I love keeping these conversations interactive and engaging for all of us here tonight. But I want to get this show on the road because I'm ready for you to meet Jennifer. But before we hop into the conversation, I want to properly introduce you. You guys know that I love to read a bio. So let me share a little bit about Jennifer. Jennifer Watson, MPT, IMTC, is a healer, high-performance coach, and breakthrough speaker on a mission to help leaders heal and accelerate their deeper purpose of impact through shifting their mental, emotional state, optimizing their leadership genius, and accelerating their performance no matter the environment. As a former D1 track athlete and two-time All-American, Jennifer, founder of Watson Worldwide, overcame years of debilitating depression to become an integrative physical therapist, business leader, two-time TEDx speaker, and now an international speaker and coach. Woo! Hello, Jennifer. Welcome to the show, my friend.
Oh man, Julia, it's so good to be here. And you know what? I think it's so great when people introduce you because it reminds you with deep gratitude what you've been able to do in this life. And I'm honored to be here, honored to pour into your community and ready to rock and roll, my friend.
Yes, let's do this. And hey, Dan, thank you so much for joining us. We've already got my great friend Dan Roth in the chat with us. Thank you for being here. So tonight's topic, Jennifer, we said we're going to talk a little bit about resilience, especially from a leadership lens. And so I want to kind of scene set for the folks that are listening. Can you share a little bit more about your particular journey on becoming this, performance coach and creating this specific focus on resilience?
Yes, I think resilience, it's a topic that we talk a lot about, but we still have so much struggle with. Julie, it's just like mental health. We talk about a lot, but we're still seeing people struggle, and resilience is very connected to your mental health. And I'll be honest, everyone, I definitely struggled in resilience and mental health early in my career. And Julia knows this, but, I've been a high performer. I know a lot of you on maybe are high performers, but I've been a high performer so much of my life, Julia, and it started in sports. I was a two-time All-American, like you said, and I loved it. And I learned so much. I mean, quality things about being a high performer, quality things about being a leader. But I also learned things that I will say were dysfunctional. The way I perceived performance, the way I perceived going through hard times. And I'll start with performance. I really started connecting performance to worth. That I would get people's acknowledgement, people's pats on the back. People thought, quote, better of me. And I really started connecting that. And the reason why I mentioned that, I really started having a dysfunctional relationship with performance. And I'm going to be honest with you, I'll even say this, in my early stages of being an athlete and an early stage of entrepreneurship, I wouldn't say that I was resilient during that time. I believe I was addicted to the accolades people were giving me. And I really didn't understand what it meant to be joyful during performance. I actually felt miserable during that. I was just addicted to the accolades, and I was addicted to people pleasing, to performing for other people. And what happened, go figure, it worked for a while, athlete, young business leader, but then it started not working. I started really struggling in performance and not succeeding as well, and started backpedaling. I started pushing harder and not letting people know I was struggling, because I thought that was the definition of resilience. Be strong, don't show emotion, grit through, discipline, all of these things I thought would be helpful because they did help for a while. But then I started really self-imploding. I'm gonna be honest. I was just backdooring it first behind the scenes, then ultimately in front of the scenes. Relationships were tanking, business financially was tanking. I just, more than anything, was miserable. And just like many of us do, I think you come to this point like this, come to Jesus. I was in this fork in this road, and I'm like, I have got to believe high performing and going after something I want to master and give to the world has got to not feel this miserable. And I also got to believe being, quote, resilient. I put that in air quotes because I definitely wasn't. I was just, again, addicted to the success. I'm like, there's got to be a better way. It doesn't mean life is not hard business. Leading is not hard, but it doesn't mean you have to be consistently tanked, mentally, physically not well, not enjoying your life during the journey. And that began my journey toward really figuring out, not only as a practitioner, I am an integrative physical therapist by trade. I really started delving into mind body brilliance and how it actually works well for performance during hard times, how it works well to really optimize your resilience and not only feel like you're floating above water, but actually accelerate success and feel vital doing it. So now I get to teach people beyond the brick and mortar PT practice to really help leaders and high performers like you really get a different way, a different look at looking at performance and resilience. And when you do, all of you that are listening now, you guys get some jewels. I truly believe in less than an hour, you can shift the boat in a more powerful way for the things that you desire and really feel good doing it.
I love that. And I appreciate your vulnerability, because sometimes people just, they show that, oh, I'm doing all this. I was a 2-time All-American. I'm super successful, but really kind of pulling back the curtain to say, it wasn't easy getting there or maintaining that. And I actually lost some of that because of how I was approaching this idea of resilience. And so I want to dig into that a little bit more because you mentioned the idea of grinding and gritting it through. So what do you think most people get wrong about resilience? And do you think it matters more today, especially like say post-pandemic versus years past?
Yeah, such a great question. I will say this, things are different post 2020 and we need to access things differently. But I was even seeing some things with resilience and how we looked at it already not working. What's happened since 2020 is the Band-Aid got ripped off. There's a lot of things that got ripped off, but I see it as a beautiful thing for us to heal and move things forward. Resilience is one of them. I'll say this, and I speak about this in my recent TEDx on the chemistry of resilience, but as I mentioned, a lot of high performers, a lot of us, when we look at resilience, we think of gritting through things. Again, staying barely above water, waiting for the storm to pass, just try to get through it. And that's like something to chalk off or put a little feather in your cap. And the problem is it makes the problem last longer. We can get into that a little bit more when we're just sitting in this like emotional state of turmoil and exhaustion, just kind of waiting for it to pass versus be proactive and allowing your body to work for you and not against you. I want to do a little side note here because I know everybody's probably wondering this. Like, well, Jennifer, do you not believe in grit? Do you not believe in discipline? Do you not believe in pushing hard? 100%. I want you guys to know there is a place for it. But I want you guys to go into a space of is learning how to be in resilience in a different way. And I'll tell you what that is. That will allow you to not only perform and then get gritty and then get disciplined when you want to, but it has to come from a different space. So how do I think resilience needs to be taught differently than discipline, grit, push through the emotion, just hover and wait for things to pass is this. One of my favorite phrases, and I say that on my TEDx, is resilience is not forced ambition, but allowed recognition.
That's good. Yeah.
And really what I mean by that, everyone, and we can kind of go a little bit into that TEDx tonight, but what I really mean by that is we have so much brilliance right here. The body. The body is constantly communicating to you, especially when you're going through hard times. A lot of times it's subtle at first, and then it gets bigger and bigger if you ignore it, and then it starts screaming aloud. What I am encouraging people to do is start to pause and start to just listen to your body. If you're like, what do you mean by listen to your body? Jennifer, it's physical things that are coming up. It can be migraine headaches. It can be tension in your shoulders when something comes up. It can be maybe a negative thought that gives you a certain feeling in your body, or a positive thought or a positive idea that gives you this elation and this energy in your body. You're getting back to the body telling you yes on something or no on something. And this is why this is important with resilience, everybody. During crisis is when we care about resilience most. During stress in the corporate world where we have 8 billion things happen different, during stress of owning a new business and trying to figure out what to do, our tendency is to shut down and not listen to our body and just go after things, or scramble. And high performers do 20 things not knowing if you're doing anything to be helpful. You're just doing something and you're avoiding, but the body's going, hello, hello, hello.
Yes.
You guys, this is combined with other strategies, but what it starts with is understanding that when you're going through a hard time, a way of optimizing resilience in a more healthy way is just start listening to the body when you're going through hard stuff. There's processes we're going to get through tonight. We can show you what to do next and ask a good question stuff, but it starts with pausing. It starts with you listening to your body and allowing it to tell you what it's doing right now. And then we can go into the next, what we can do next from that space. When you do that, everyone, you're in a calmer state, okay? I don't care what anyone says. I know there's going to be devil's advocates on here, okay? That we think that we have to be in fight or flight all the time. We actually are successful with that. But the problem is that's not sustainable. It's not sustainable to the body. It takes too much energy. And you actually, when you're in a calmer state, research shows this, everyone. You have higher performance, higher productivity, better communication. This is research-based. The athletes in the Olympics right now, you guys, the ones that are coming back to the Olympics every 4 years and win, and you're like, how do they do that? They've learned this stuff, how to stay calm during the chaos of the stress of performing, you guys. I mean, this is super important. So going back to that question, like how to look at it differently, Julia, is let go of the push, grit, discipline at first. Okay, there's a place for that. But more importantly, take a deep breath, pause, listen at first, just get used to what your body's saying to you, because I don't care what anybody says, there's a knowing in your body. This person is maybe not good for me. This decision is maybe not good for me. This right now, for whatever reason, sounds good to me. You start just getting on the mat with doing things that your body wants to do. And guess what? It never lies.
That's right.
It always wants the best for you. And guess what? It's always making decisions from your future space, from your future self, because it wants to get out of this yuck. It actually wants that for you. So it's trying to have you settle and listen to it. And you can't settle and listen to it if you're in this fight or flight, but when you're in a calm space. We can go through processes to understand that, you guys, and then from that space, how you make better decisions, better productivity. But it first truly starts, everyone, just listening to it. Pause, hang out, figure that allowance of the body brilliance to come through. And when you do that, resilience becomes super easy. It becomes healthier. It allows you to feel more energy during hard times. It allows you to make better decisions during hard times. It allows you to be connected still with relationships and doing things that maybe you're in a busy season you have to do. When you go back to here, everything changes in the way that you can be resilient and actually accelerate your success during hard times.
And I love the idea of pausing. I know that that's been something that I've struggled with, because you feel like, okay, you just have to kind of push through and just kind of keep going, because if you keep going, you're going to get through it, right? Versus just taking that step back. And the idea is that if you stop willingly, then your body doesn't have to stop you, involuntarily, right? When you fall sick or something happens, because your body gives out on you. So if you take that time up front to pause, to breathe, listen to your body, it's telling you what it needs. You don't want to wait until something tragic happens, and then you're now trying to listen to your body, and now you need, whether it's medical care, medicine, what have you. So I love the idea of just taking a minute and pausing, and that there's nothing wrong or there's nothing weak about taking that breath. Yes, there's time for grit, like you said, but it's not, you can take that time. And so, and I wanted to add or ask a question, kind of thinking about that, because for a lot of leaders who are on the call, it's because of the culture in their organizations that they may feel like, If I'm the one who's pausing and breathing and taking my time and everyone else is barreling ahead, then I'm lagging behind. And so what is it that you think we would maybe need to do from a workplace culture standpoint to make sure that leaders don't feel like if I breathe, if I take a moment for myself, if I take time to think it through, that I'm not falling behind?
Oh gosh, this is so good, you guys. I hope you're ready for just a little neuroscience before I answer the question.
Neuroscience. Let me sit up.
This is going to help you guys understand the science behind what I'm going to answer to Julia. That's going to feel counterintuitive. When we go through stressful times, all of you, I know you're going to be able to follow me on this. We have a certain feeling that comes up in our body, right? We have chemicals that get dropped into our system when we feel stressed. And some of us might say we feel tension. We feel digestive issues. We feel bloated. We feel butterflies. We feel headaches, like whatever we're feeling. It's literally dumping things in our system of what we're perceiving as a stressful state. What happens then as human beings, we come up with a word, an emotion to describe that. I'm stressed. I'm frustrated. I'm angry. I'm overwhelmed. I'm whatever. Also, I'm excited. I'm happy. All that stuff too.
Mm-hmm.
Guess what, everyone? I want you to really get this. It's going to help you so much. That emotion that you just expressed goes through the emotional centers of your brain first, before it goes to the frontal cortex, where your thought starts, where your natural thought, where your thought for rational thought happens, like your next thing that should happen next, and then behavior comes from that. Frontal cortex is about rational thought. If you go into your emotion and you aren't able to move that through, you're going to have an irrational thought being fed to the frontal cortex. I want you guys to do this. You can't have a thought before you have an emotion. And the reason why I mention this, everyone, is how many of you, I've done it too. I'm racing through all you corporate people or other people have 20. I just get through it. I can do this. I can do this, Jennifer. I can do it. And you do, like, I call it the Tony Robbins incantations, break through it or whatever. I used to have things on my wall, girlfriend. I used to have all this stuff. And I'm like, why is this not working? So much to do. And I know you guys are hearing me. You're like, I'm about to give you an epic tool that's going to blow your minds. It does not take you a long time. But I want you to understand first why I'm going to give you the tool I'm going to give you. You have to process emotion first before you can give yourself a healthy thought to your frontal cortex to then do the behavior that is aligned with whatever you want to get done that day. Otherwise, everything either doesn't get done well, you're exhausted, or it doesn't get done at all. Okay, everyone? So we can sit here and say, don't take time. You better take time, because if you don't want emotions running the show because you have 20 things to do that day, they will be doing that if you don't know how to process it in a powerful way every day of the week and twice on Sunday, my friend. Okay? So we want to give you a tool that you can use when everybody's running around. Honestly, we're going to go into that too, how you can share this with other staff members so we can create a culture during busy times where you can create some space to digest and process, to get back out of the weeds into your lane, to do powerful things. So what are we going to do? If you're having stress, the whole team's having stress. You're having 20 things you have to do. You're the head of maybe a big team. It doesn't matter. What you're going to do is what Julie just said. You're going to take a deep breath and pause. This is a minute exercise. Everyone, take a deep breath and pause, okay? I want you just to breathe. I just want you to breathe, okay? What I'm going to have you then in that moment, for the next 30 seconds, think about what right now feels good to do to move. What activity, like exercise or movement? I'm not talking about working out, just exercise or movement. Doesn't matter, okay? I don't care if it's jumping jacks, dancing, lunges, squats, okay? For the next 30 seconds after that, you're going to do that activity. Why? Emotions are energy. It's just like eating bad food. You got to wait for it to kind of process through the gut and mobilize it through. When you exercise, you move that negative energy through your body. It starts taking the saran wrap off the brain. It starts feeding the brain a more positive emotion, which then gives you a positive thought for the next thing you're going to do. How many of you, anybody drop it in the comments, how many of you have had a bad email come through and you have to go into a staff meeting, you're still thinking about that email and the emotion with it?
Can I raise multiple hands? So, and if you guys are listening and have been there, please drop it in the chat and let us know. But I'm raising both hands and both my legs.
Absolutely. Or you mad about fight with your spouse or you're thinking of another, and you got to and you're like, I'll just push that down because I have 20 things to do today. How many of you carried that the entire day? And by the end of the day, when you reflect, you're like, you know what? I was distracted. I didn't get the 20 things done I wanted to do. You guys, do you hear what I'm saying? So the next thing I'm going to give you is going to be even more powerful, but do you hear what I'm saying? So not only is it science that when you move it through, then it gives you more positive thought. You're going to be more productive, more high performing, more communicative, get all the things you need to get done that day. But it's also evidence by the end of the day, you guys. You can take all the science you want, but all of you know by the end of the day, did you carry that emotion from whatever happened earlier into the rest of your day? I guarantee you did. And by the way, that's not a shame. It's just honoring, okay, what can I do to process that? So that's the first thing, you guys, start moving that through. And that takes a minute. This is something, you guys, I work, and I know we've talked about this a little bit, but I've worked with a lot of senior leaders, and they're like, we want our team to get this too. I'm like, I get that. First of all, lead by example. They're going to see like, wow, they're pretty calm during this crisis. Oh, I just saw him get up and do some squats. People like watch and then do things by example. Sometimes you don't even have to tell them. And then they might ask you, like, what are you doing? Like, hey, funny you should ask. I'm working with a coach, or I've learned this new technique of pausing. We're all busy, but for a minute, thinking of something fun that I want to do. And then it helps me just move the energy through it. It helps me really think more clearly so I can then do you guys. So there's an easy way of then, I call it cross-contaminating your team, because I was a practitioner by trade. I'm sorry, whatever. Masterminding. I'll use that. That's a more positive.
Yes.
Masterminding.
Cross-contaminate.
Right? It's cross-contamination. But what you're doing is you're leading by example. They're seeing you do it. They're going to ask like, oh, I don't have time. Like, actually, you do. This only takes me a minute. Okay? It's huge. The second component to that, you guys, sometimes it's unexpected things that can happen in a corporate world, in a business world, but some things are expected. There were times that I knew we were going to be in high season with PT practice. It's always higher in the spring and fall, like really high. You know what I would do, you guys? Okay, another counterintuitive thing. I would double down and have my team double down on wellness activities during their day, even if they had to break it up. Do more exercise, do more meditation. Again, more. They're like, oh my God, it's busy season. How the hell are you going to do this?
Right. You don't have time for that in a busy season, right?
Yes. But you guys, I'm telling you, I literally have worked with, I work with high performing leaders, corporate leaders, business leaders all the time. And I literally have them come to me. I have 20 things to do this week that are really important. Like, great. How much do you exercise a day? An hour. I want you to exercise 2 hours a day all week. They're like, what? What this does, you guys, is it increases blood flow to the brain. It increases opportunity for resilience to be boosted because you're expanding your capacity and capability in something physically hard. It brings information to the brain that you can also expand your capacity on additional physical hard or mentally hard things in your business. I guarantee you, because I literally have told people, like, just trust me on this. They've come back to me, get this, everyone, and gotten their tasks done in half the amount of time. They're done by the middle of the week. Why? Your body needs breaks. It needs to reset. There's research on this. You guys try this. Try moving this 1 minute technique, and then during busy seasons. So the one technique is you can use for, things that come out unexpectedly or things that are expected. That takes a minute. This thing, if you double down on these activities when you're really busy, I guarantee you, this is research based, I guarantee you will cut the amount of time in half of doing that, and you're going to optimize your resilience because you're cutting in half. You're getting more efficient. You're getting your team to do the same. You guys see, resilience doesn't have to be this negative. Oh, that's not the other thing we have. Like, oh, resilience. Like, I don't really want to have to go through hard times. No, you guys, you can lean into it. But if you know how the brain and body works in optimal performance, is huge. Third technique. I just got to give this, as I'm downloading a lot of stuff for you guys. Look at a blank wall for 5 minutes.
Wall, okay.
A blank wall. Julia's wall right there. Why? We are getting 8 billion bits, not 8 billion, but I'm exaggerating, you guys. A lot of bits of information every day. Not only in your own business, in corporate, in the things you're doing, but from social media, from, just excessive information that we had that we didn't have back in Laura Ingalls Wilder day. Your brain is so unbelievably tired. It is so unbelievably tired. It needs breaks to process some of the things that you have been doing all day. If you're in a really stressful time and you're doing 20 things a day and you want to boost your resilience, we just talked about shifting through by dancing, getting through that emotion so you can really think more profoundly in the frontal lobe. The second, double down on wellness when you're going to go through a busier season. And third, stare at a blank wall. It loves being bored. You Guys, it loves being bored. It gets to process things. It's like, holy junk, she's finally settling so I can move some of the stuff that she's been thinking about. Why is it that we're like, oh my gosh, we look at a screen for content creation or whatever we're trying to create and we're like, I can't think of anything. And we go out in the woods and stare at a tree for like 10 minutes. We're like, oh my gosh, I just thought of something. You guys, I know you guys have examples. I'm just giving you the science behind it. This stuff is real. And again, when I settle, relax, and pause, they may tell me, just go on a walk, Jennifer. Just going, really? I'm so busy. I'm going to do it. And I was like, you guys, you don't even have to know the science, the neuroscience. Go back to trusting the body. Listen, pause. I don't know. I'm not getting anything done. I'm overwhelmed. What should I do? I don't know. It's telling me to dance. I'm going to dance. I feel like I'm going on a walk. I feel, you guys, that's your body saying, hello, hello. It's telling you what to do. And the momentum begins. The science I've given you, looking at a blank wall, let it reset. Move the emotion through. There's so much research on that too. Allowing yourself more time in wellness. You guys, your body brain loves it. It will work with you when you allow it time to do that. Do this for everyone, you guys. And I'm telling you, your culture will change. 1 minute exercise, blank wall, or give people a little bit of time up. I'm guaranteeing you the energy of the room is going to change, the productivity without you even trying. Sometimes you do need wellness coaches to come in, you guys, and resilient coaches to come in. I hear you. That's why I'm available, to kind of help people optimize when they're going through hard times. There's deeper tools beyond what we're talking about, but you'd be surprised what I've given you guys. This is what I give my clients. I'm giving you guys some jewels that if you do it every day and consistently, your environment's going to start changing. You're going to see Jane Doe over here being more productive than ever because you're leading by example. You gave her an idea about doing squats every hour on the hour or doubling down on her exercise before she came into work. You're like, wow, she's so nice. And she's engaged. You guys, that's true. You guys know that when you win and you practice, they win. And they see it. And it all starts creating this momentum. You don't have to sit everybody aside and say, well, here's how you create. We're not asking you to be resilience coaches, you guys. We're not asking to be wellness coaches. We're asking you to step in yourself and then move that into your team. And I'm telling you, you're going to see game over. You're going to see things change quickly. Those 3 techniques and moving into your space, some shorter than others, but I'm telling you, it's going to be game changing for the busyness and the stress that you go through. I kid you not, Julia, you will find that people will look at you and go, how are you doing this? Like, you have so much going on, Julia, and you seem so light and you're not faking it. I used to fake it, you guys, and now I don't because I learned the science behind what I've taught my entire life. It actually started doubling down on it and people started seeing it. I could share it with them. And my teams have been absolutely gorgeous because of it. They can't help but want to be a part of my cause because of the environment that we're setting up for them to win absolutely the most during hard times, where you can create a resilience that you freaking knock out of the park, my friend.
Yeah. And what I love, I mean, you shared just so much there, especially the tools. I hope that everyone who's listening, I hope that you wrote them down. If you have a pen or pad or something, or use your phone, one of the things that stood out from what you shared is the leading by example, right? Because leaders create the environment. We set the tone, we set the culture. And so it's important for us to be willing to take those steps. And if we're able to show that, hey, we need a minute. We're going to walk around the block. We're going to close the office door. Maybe we squat, whatever it is. We're going to breathe so that people see that, hey, it's okay for me to do that. And I think about for myself, the moments when I have either gone on, exercise or just taking a break. I love to walk. So when I go outside, I just get some fresh air. You come back in and you're so much more refreshed and focused because, like you said, your brain is it's tired.
Yeah.
It's just overwhelmed with all the information. And then, like you said, for leaders, it's everything that we're downloading times 10 because it's not just for us, right? We're thinking about our team and all the responsibilities and so forth. So I just love all that. So I hope that you guys wrote down all those tools that Jennifer shared, because she charges people big bucks to share that kind of information. And so as we come to a close here, we talked a little bit about, how we can show up better at work if we implement these tools, and then how they can and how these leaders can implement it with their teams. So for those who are listening and they've heard all that you've shared, what's one last piece of advice that you would share with them to kind of bring it all together when it comes to being resilient? When we think about this environment with layoffs and, restructuring in organizations, businesses growing, shrinking, so dynamic, leaders are under so much pressure. What would be your last piece of advice to bring it together for them who are in the midst of that from a resilience standpoint?
Yes. It's such a great question. Man, so many good tools, but I'm going to say this. Resilience gets really easier. Let me correct, easier. Hard times get easier for you and your team when you go back to what you, not me, not Julia, what you really want. You guys, in a world where we're constantly being told of how to do things, how to live our life, how to lead. You guys, I believe in mentorship and coaching. I'm a mentor, I'm coached. And that's not what I'm talking about. We're getting just massive noise from people of what we should be doing during hard times or how we need to run our business or our life. That's when things get lost and we go dormant of what this is trying to tell us. And that's what happened to me, you guys, is I started listening to everybody else and then I went back home. And if you guys want to, what do you mean by home? Get really clear on who you are and what you want to bring to the world. And if you don't know that, Julie's available. You guys, there's so many great coaches out there to gain clarity on where do you want to go in your career? What do you have to offer? What are your giftings? And get super clear on that, because I'm telling you, more than everything I've given you, if you know what your clear path is and purpose is right now, it is your true freaking north, my friend. And it's going to be the thing that every time you get hit down and more things coming at you and your team's plummeting and you're busy, it will allow you to make it easier to rise because you want to. You guys, when I look back at resilience, half that piece was not going back to what I wanted to do. Listen to my body, taking a deep breath, pausing, like, what could I do that could make it fun right now? When I started doing that, everything changed. So I'm going to encourage all of you, whatever resonates with you, go back to home, gain clarity on who you are and dive into that deeper purpose. And I'm telling you, that will, in the deep why behind it, that's going to create such an ease with resilience. You guys, I deal with stuff all the time. Like, I look sometimes like, oh my gosh, I can't believe I got through some of that. You know why? I know why. Julia knows my why. I know Julia's why, and I can feel her passion. And that's something, my friend, when you put that in on your team and your passion, your deep why, again, cross-contamination, they feel it. They want to know their purpose and their why and how they can contribute. Guys, that is the big domino. And if you can figure that out, my friend, all these other tools we just gave you just start getting easier, and you rise like the beast, the epic person that you are. And I truly believe that for each of you that are here tonight, and believe that for each of us that want to live our highest potential self and truly lead in a powerful way for good, for impact.
Man, I mean, mic drop, first of all. And I think it's just so important, like you said, just getting that clarity about who you are and what you want. It's easy to get lost in corporate, right? Because they're telling you so many things. There's all these objectives and targets and whatever the case is. And you have to almost be a chameleon, I think, at times. Yes. And so I love the idea of, drowning out all the noise and just getting back to you, just powerful words. Mm-hmm. And so before we wrap up, Jennifer, you got to tell us, what's next for you. I think I heard a little birdie told me that you've got a tour coming on. You got tell us a little bit more. Yes, I feel like a kid in a candy shop. So I did complete my second TEDx, and it came out this past July, The Chemistry of Resilience. And, I'm going to be honest, I wish I could take credit for this. This tour that I'm coming up with, I'm actually catapulting my Chemistry of Resilience TEDx into a tour this fall, where I'm going to be going across the country into different states and cities and delving deeper on the concepts. You guys definitely feel free to look at the TEDx, but if you're interested in any of the different cities that we're looking at going into, hosting or coming, we're going to be delving deeper on the concepts, doing a really fun kind of physical activity with people, and really get unique with the community depending on where I'm at. And I'm really excited. And it wasn't even my idea. It was both June and I's coaches' brilliance idea. Daryl Stinson, my speaker coach. I remember when he first told me this before my TEDx came out, and I'm like, yeah, that sounds kind of cool. And then after it came out, I'm like,
Yes.
Yes.
So I can't take the credit, but I will say I was so glad that he put that into my thought, because now I'm taking it and running with it. And we are going on tour throughout basically the first week in December. And we're going to be like at 8 different spaces. And I'm truly excited about it, in between some of my other speaking gigs. And I'm so excited. So reach out to me if you're interested in coming, if you guys want more information about it, or even after this live or you watch my TEDx. I mean, I really want you guys to get this. I truly believe, and the reason why I'm going on tour, Julia, is there's a lot of different, I believe, superpowers that are necessary for leaders in this day and age post 2020, with so much going on and everything changing and fast paced, and yes, everything going on in the world. So many what I call next level leadership traits. And one of them is resilience, healthy resilience. And when you have that, I believe you're going to get ahead in a lot of ways in the things that you truly desire. So I'm really excited for the tour. You guys give me a shout out if you're in the city, and I'd love to have you come.
Awesome. So we're actually going to share the link. So I'm going to put it on the live, and then on YouTube I'll be able to drop the link in the notes for the TEDx as well as for the tour, so that you can see if your city is one of the cities that Jennifer is coming to. Jennifer, thank you so much for being here. So promise this is the last question. If people want to connect with you, where can they find you? You know, how can they start a conversation so they can boost their own resilience, or at least just become a Jennifer Watson fan? Where can they find you?
Absolutely. I'm the most active on LinkedIn and probably Instagram, but the most active on LinkedIn. I still answer my own DMs. I really want to connect with you. And if you have any questions for sure, or looking for additional support, I'm always here. And I just want to see all of you continue to shine, because we need more leaders like Julia and other people that she's connected with to lead their impact for good to the world. We need you out there. So any way I can support, I would love to hear from you.
Awesome. Well, thank you so much for being here, Jennifer. Just so much great information. I saw your TEDx, and I feel like I still learned something tonight, even in this conversation. So thank you so much. If you haven't seen the TEDx, like I said, I will drop the link. It's a powerful talk to help you change your life, and really, instead of powering through resilience, actually pausing and working your way through in a much healthier way. So thank you guys for being here. We'll be back next week, same time, same place. The guest to be announced, so you have to stay tuned for that. Please do connect with Jennifer. And again, thank you for being here. If you have questions, Dan, thank you for dropping your joke in the chat. But if you have questions for us that weren't answered tonight, please go ahead and drop a comment on whatever platform you're watching on, and Jennifer and I will get back to you. Thank you again, and I will see you guys next week.